know that they're loved, they're seen, they're welcomed, and they're celebrated.
I love that so much, and it's such a beautiful book. Getting the chance to read it, it really you can feel the emotion and the love behind it. I would imagine when you were writing it that obviously children's books are I'm sure maybe I don't know, maybe a little faster than writing.
No, actually not. No.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
tell me.
it was.
Okay, tell me about that process.
It's for me. It was a super challenging. With "We're Gonna Need More Wine," I wrote exactly how I talk in real life. I didn't try to, set out to, have this super heady book that's like very cerebral where I use all my SAT words. I just wanted to have a real conversation talking about things that interest me and have affected
Yeah.
my life that I thought other people could relate to. But with a children's book and trying to open up a conversation about sort of non-traditional family creation or expansion, kind of hard to figure out like how do you even start that conversation.
Yeah.
So with me, like anything, I'd rather lead with our own experience, and just how do you show that there's this family that was sort of waiting and anticipating her arrival. So how do we get grandpa in there, how do we get mama Wade in there, how do we get Zaya in there, and then how do you create the language for these little guys, these little minds, and families trying to have this conversation. That was randomly for me way more challenging than writing about all the things I wrote about in "We're Gonna Need More Wine."
Yeah. Was it was the journey super emotional? Because I know I read it and I got emotional. I've also gone, I'm a mom to a 9-month old, and my husband and I dealt with infertility struggles, and it was a lot longer than we anticipated. So reading it was so emotional for me. I would imagine for you writing it, it was the same.
It is, and it goes through waves, right? When I was first putting it together, it was very emotional and just really wanting to get it right for all of us who've just had so much pain and just really wanting it to feel like a celebration, right? And then I talked to my mom, and my mom at 60 years old adopted her first child. At 61, adopted her second, and a few years later adopted her third. And now she's 73 with, preteens and teens, and wanting to get that story right and giving people the space to be like, oh my gosh, I love your family. I celebrate your family. Tell me a little bit more about, you know, the embrace
Yeah.
of your family, and being an LGBTQ plus ally, understanding chosen families. And we're not necessarily talking about babies, but we're talking about older teens and adults who are finally finding that family that a
Yeah.
lot of us were born into, as at later times, and wanting to wrap our arms around those people. And every time I'd hear a story, I'd get emotional all over again.
Yeah.
Just today, just hearing from so many of my girlfriends and family members who it's been a long road for them too, and it just feels like a win for everybody who's just suffered a lot of heartache.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we see the joy, and we definitely see that on your daughter's Instagram, on your Instagram, I have to ask first, is she as much of a firecracker in real life as she is on her Instagram?
We just had a little battle. She won.
Always.
Yeah, she is exactly as she appears, and she's been that way from the time she was born. Just unbothered, unimpressed, and right about now, I don't know if you can hear her stomping around. She's angry, very angry right this second.
Well, we love
Like we
Shady
just,
Baby.
she is giving us full Shady Baby this morning. Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
listen, she earned it, right?
Wusa.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We're
Wusa.
gonna need more wine.
We're gonna need more wine. Well, today, margaritas, tequila,
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I love how you, and I think your fans love so much how you really have been so open and shared your family with the world, which is frankly a really scary and difficult thing, I'm sure some days, to be able to kind of open up your truths to the world. Tell me how you guys have just been sort of protecting each other and insulating each other in this time, especially when you get hurled with criticism and everybody has their opinions about what you should or shouldn't be doing. I would love to hear just how you guys have been dealing with that.
You know, honestly, luckily, we don't, it has to be so bad for us to see it. Otherwise, we're sort of insulated because we tend to not hear from those kind of people who want and wish to do us harm. Um, so when it gets, you know, really, really bad and everyone's talking about it, those people also kind of tend to let those people have it who want to bring my family harm. So we've been wrapped in a lot of love and a lot of protection, and for a lot of the people who understand that you're going to learn a lot more through transparency than secrecy and shame. There's nothing that we're ashamed about with our family, and I don't want to hide anyone to make someone else feel comfortable about my family. We're good, we are happy, we are joyful, we are imperfectly perfect, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, if you have a problem with it, that's going to be your problem, and then probably some of the rest of society is going to get you straight before
Yeah.
we ever have to, you know, come for your neck. Not that I'm above that, as you all know. But just more people want to see our family and families like ours and folks like us be happy and feel safe
Yeah.
and feel protected. And that's been a huge blessing. But
Yeah,
also, let me
absolutely.
say,
Well,
you know, I shared that this experience, I don't know, a couple weeks ago when we had the Currys on the wind down. And I mean, I wasn't joking because it was serious, but years ago, before they were married, I was like, y'all should date other people. You should sleep with other people, you know, don't get married. And the point of sharing that story is, why are you listening to people who don't know you, don't know what's in your heart? And I've never, certainly at that time, I, I'd never accomplished what they were trying to do.
mm,
So don't listen to me. And thank God they didn't, because now we've got, you know, the courage. But so all that noise, if you're super sure of yourself, is just that, it's noise. And when
yeah,
you don't listen and you stay focused on the goal, and for us, it's our peace, our joy, and our grace and our compassion as a family, bump everything else. That sounds
yeah,
like a personal problem to me. And
yeah.
it's funny how that